Alright, so I'm going to do a quick tutorial on how to do the pulsating effect on sirens like, single tone thunderbolts, 508s. In this instance, I'm going to do a 508, which is going to be I was going to do a noon blast, but we'll go ahead and make it 30 seconds. That way I can show how to do the rotation effect as well. I did not learn this on my own. I got to give the credit to Connor Henderson for teaching me this method. So I don't want to take credit for that. I am just doing this for myself. That way, if I go a long time without synthing again, I can resort back to this and just not have to bug anybody. Like, hey, I don't remember how to do this. Can you remind me how to do this? So to get on with it, all right. So I'm gonna start with a frequency sweep, and I'm doing 30 seconds. And we're gonna do control 1, waveform 1, the high frequency of a 508, which I set it at 500. It varies. The time constant is going to be 1.2. Sometimes they wind up slower, sometimes they wind up faster. It depends on what kind. Well, it really depends on the unit, weather conditions, temperature. It all depends. At low frequency, of course, you're going to start off as 0. Now, with this method, I do not know how to do attack. So we're just going to do a 30-second quick blast. Go ahead and let that generate up right quick. And I'm just going to show you this quick method, and hopefully it'll help some of you guys out. Now, the first thing I like to do is, the tone generated, but before I forget, I am going to go over here. I'm going to click at the very beginning of that. I'm going to zoom in on it. I'm going to go for about 1 second. 1 second. Highlight that. I'm going to go to my effects. I'm going to hit it with a fade in. That way it don't make sounds like a blowing raspberries. So make sure that did right. That sounds good to me. Alright, so you click on this. This is the easiest way, I know. You make a new track, and you're going to generate a frequency sweep. This time it's going to be 2. We'll say 1 minute for the wind down. And I do distant ambiances. I'm not really good at doing up close sirens. I can do them, but this method's going to show you, how I'm switching my methods and how I'm getting closer to being able to do solo sirens and, up close. So we got control 2, waveform 1, 500, and it's going to wind down to 0 because of that control. All right, now I'm going to show you this. Once it's done doing this, I'm going to show you that if you just leave it like that, it's going to clip when it winds down. Once it's done, it'll clip when it winds down. Well, that one didn't necessarily do it, but I'm going to do the method anyway. What you do is you zoom in on these little things here. You want to make them match. So we'll just meet in the middle. All right. So we'll just do that. Well, we're not ready to mix and render yet. I'm getting ahead of myself. And with a distant siren, you know that you cannot hear the full wind down of the siren. So I like to clip in at right about there. See where we're at? See, you won't hear that from a distance. That's the final, pulses of the air coming out of the chopper as it slows down. So you go a little bit further. You won't hear that either. Go a little bit further. You might hear that depending how far away you are. I don't care. So I'm just going to highlight that, go back like that, get rid of that part that you're not going to hear. Boom, gone. All right, highlight the whole thing, give it a little bit of a fade out. All right, now you're ready for your mix and render. You go to tracks, mix and render. You got it done. All right, so there's your wind up and your wind down. All right, I'm gonna adjust this a little bit that way so you can see what I'm doing. All right, so how do I get that the pulse of a 508 or pulse of any siren that has that undertone? I'm going to show you how to do it. You generate yourself a new track. So you have 500 hertz here. So what you're going to do is you take that number, 500 hertz, and the 508 is an 8-port siren, so you do 500 divided by 8, which is 62.5. All right, so you generate frequency sweep. This is going to be a sine wave instead. You go to 1. We had a 30-second signal, so we'll just do 30 seconds. We're going to do 62.5, right, like that. Now, we're going to hit it, let it do its wind up. All right, let's see, go over this way, just the same method as before. Let me readjust you. Do the same method as before, do a wind down for 1 minute. 1.2, yep, all of that's correct. All right, you do that. All right, you don't have to search your track anymore because that one will tell you where it ends with the yellow line. That's what I like about Audacity. Wow, I said that weird. I promise I am okay. All right, and the same thing with this one. You hit it with the fade out, boom. And before I forget, did I match these? No, I did not. That would have clipped really bad. All right, so there you go. You got that. All right, so those match. You mix and render it up. All right, let me zoom on out here. We got that going. Now, let me show you what I'm doing here. On the side of these tracks right here, on this little drop-down bar, you're going to make the top one, which is it's going to be called your carrier tone, your main tone. That's going to be your left track. Then your undertone is going to be your right track. Now make these stereo track. All right, now get you right here. Oh, I forgot to do a wind in. All right, so we'll do a wind up. Fade in, sorry, fade in. All right, highlight the whole track. Now, this is what I'm going to show you with this. This is called Nyquist prompt. I'm going to zoom in so you can see the code and give you a second to get that down. And you have to do it exactly like that, exactly. All right, and I'll take the blue highlight off so you can see it a little bit better. All right, I think I get it. You can pause the video if you need more time, but I'm gonna go ahead and give us this code. All right, now what that did, I'm gonna go ahead and show you. It made the pulse. So let me. All right, so that's done. We're gonna split these back to a mono track. You're gonna mix and render them. Mix and render. That's my favorite thing here. Mix and render. All right, now that you have your track, that is gonna be your raw sound. Let me zoom out. That's gonna be your raw sound. All right, now how to do the rotation and the effects, you're gonna leave this raw. You're gonna leave that alone. That one's done. You're gonna duplicate it. You're gonna make a new one. Now for me, I still use the random pitch and random amplitude modulations. Let me get through these effects here. So the first one we're gonna do, random amplitude modulation. I'll zoom in on those numbers so you can see them. 0.75 and 17. All right. All right, that did that. Now I'm gonna do a random pitch modulation, which I still use my same settings. All right. Gonna hit it with that. All right. Now it's time to add some echo. All right, so we're gonna be, I'd say about 3 blocks away from it, 2 or 3 blocks away from it. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna go to reverb. We'll zoom in on those settings so you can see them. 100, 100, 70, 0, 100, 100, -3, -5, 100. And those are the corrective places: room size, pre-delay, reverberance, damping, tone low, tone high, wet gain, dry gain, and stereo width. All right, so I'm gonna hit it with OK. That gives you your echo, that gives you your distance effect. I'll let you go ahead and hear that. I'll do a solo, that way this top one doesn't interfere with it. So. All right, now you have your main tone. that is with the echo. Now we're going into 10 minutes. This is going to be a long video. All right, so you get rid of that. We'll turn it off solo. That was my fault. All right, I'm gonna make it to where you can see my whole little thing here now. All right, so what you do after that is you want to add a little bit of that distance effect, which I say we're going to be about 2 or 3 blocks away from the siren, so get some siren action going on here. First thing you want to do is a high pass filter to get rid of those upper octaves that'll roll off during, when the sound travels. So I do 200 at 6 decibels. And that's what your roll-off is going to be to simulate your distance. All right, then you do a low pass to get rid of those low frequencies that roll off during the distance. And it'll be the same numbers, 200 at 6 decibels. You see that makes it really small? We're not worried about that. We're going to hit it with an amplifier. Boom, hit it with an amplifier. Get it loud again. All right, so now this is what we're looking at. As we all know, a 508 or any newer federal signal siren really rotates at 3 RPM. So at 3 RPM, you got to take 60 and divide it by 3, which, if I remember correctly, I know. You're gonna take your envelope tool, I guess, but so this is gonna be 3 RPM. So I would say roughly every 20 seconds it'll turn and beam at the camera. 246. All right, and this is gonna be the rough pattern. All right, and since it's not a full 60 seconds, we know that the siren's not going to be facing at us when it shuts off. So we'll go ahead and make that effect. So at about, so you got 20 seconds, 40 seconds, and that is after the siren has shut down. So we know that the siren shuts down right here, and it's going to do half of a rotation away. So do that. Now this is the raw sound. This is the one that didn't get the effects. And then you leave the one with the echoes non-rotating, just off in the distance, doing its thing. And this will make the rotation sound. All right, so let me show you what that sounds like. All right, now we know, any of us that have actually heard a siren in person from a distance, we know that it does not slowly loop into that. It's like you can hear it moving. It's a sound and motion effect. You can hear it moving, but when it turns towards you, it gives you a sudden potent, let me explain it. It gives you a sudden potent, just big beam of sound. So it's, it'll slowly beam around at you, but then you'll suddenly get a blast of potent sound. So that's what I'm going to emulate here. So I give it about two of those little notches in between my 15 and the 20. So I'll give it about two of those notches and 2 notches thereafter. And just give it a nice sudden blast of sound. And then you want to keep that. We'll simulate it to where it was facing about half away when it wound up. And then over here it's going to be about the same. And then it's going to shut down when it's about halfway around. So it's not going to be facing at you. It's going to be facing, say, it'll probably have its back turned towards you. So let's give a listen to what that sounds like. Just the rotation part. I want to hear the rotation part. Let's see how that goes. All right, that roll off after the rotation is a little fast, so I'm going to fix that up right quick because we know it don't suddenly face away, so we're going to stretch that out a little bit. All right, so now we'll get that. Right there, right about there. All right, so now you have your rotation effect. Let me listen to the shutdown. All right, so what you're going to do with these two now, you're going to mix and render them. That's my favorite thing, right? Mix and render. All right. Now you should roughly have your raw sound of what it's going to sound like. Why is it not zooming out? All right, I'm going to have to... Anyway. So this is the final... I wouldn't say the final product because there's still some touches and things that I'm going to do off camera. But... All right, there is one more thing I'm going to do before I let you go. So you heard that there's like a very high pitch overtone. I'm going to go over here to this equalization chart, and I'm actually going to give it a bass boost. But we're going to make this middle right here, we're going to make it spike up just a little bit. Just like that. Just above 12 decibels. And everything else looks good. So there you go. I'm going to leave it at that, and I hope this video helps you understand how to do the undertone and that raspy sound that, you know, those certain sirens make. If you do decide to start synthing, I do have to warn you, it is very time consuming. There's a lot of math involved, but you will enjoy it. I've been doing it for 15 years. I did announce my retirement not too long ago, and I've had some people talking to me, you know, and they're really getting me back into it. I am going to go ahead and announce this. I am going to be uploading a new synth here soon. It is currently in the works, so we'll see how that goes, see how everybody likes it, and just testing the waters on possibly coming back to the trade. I'm not sure yet, but we'll figure it out. I appreciate you for watching the video. I hope this helps you, and subscribe.